A handsome smile and winning personality can hide the darkest intentions. In the case of Ethan Callaway, they concealed a calculating predator who seduced 11 women at the same workplace, including his boss's teenage daughter, before his manipulation ended in bloody murder. Welcome to Riverdale, population 12,300. The kind of place where neighbors bring casseroles when you're sick, where the annual harvest festival draws the entire community, and where everyone assumes they know everything about everyone else. But beneath the friendly waves and familiar faces, secrets fester, some deadlier than others. Have you ever trusted someone completely, only to discover they weren't who they claimed to be? Perhaps you've witnessed a colleague charm their way through the office, building relationships that seem too good to be true. Maybe you've experienced that gut feeling, that something was off, but ignored it because everyone else seemed captivated. In this harrowing true crime story, we'll witness how a 20-year-old man with no remarkable background systematically manipulated multiple women at a family-owned manufacturing company. We'll explore how his calculated charm worked on everyone from experienced professionals to young interns. And we'll reveal how Victor Langston's fatherly protection of his pregnant daughter triggered a confrontation that would end with his blood staining the office carpet. This isn't just a story about murder. It's about the invisible warning signs most victims miss, the psychology of predators who walk among us, and the devastating aftermath when manipulation reaches its breaking point. Before we continue this chilling story, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to True Crime Village. Your support helps us bring these important cautionary tales to light and ensures you never miss the crucial lessons that might one day save you or someone you love. Now, let's rewind to the day Ethan Callaway first arrived in Riverdale. His innocent smile masking intentions no one could have predicted. Callaway arrived in Riverdale in early spring with nothing but a duffel bag, a worn-out sedan, and an inexplicable confidence that belied his modest background. The son of middle-class parents from 2 states over, his resume showed nothing remarkable. A high school diploma, 3 abandoned community college courses, and a series of short-lived retail jobs. Yet his easy laugh and attentive gaze made people feel special, a gift he'd cultivated since childhood. He remembered everyone's names, their kids' birthdays, even mentioned a new haircut most men wouldn't notice, recalled Jenny from HR, who hired him at Langston Manufacturing. We needed someone in shipping, but I thought he'd be perfect for customer relations. He had that way about him. Within weeks, Ethan moved from the warehouse floor to a front office position. His meteoric rise caught the attention of Victor Langston, the 58-year-old owner who had built the company from nothing over 30 years. Victor was old school, handshake deals, loyalty above all, and family values as the foundation of his business philosophy. His employees were extensions of his family, their well-being his personal responsibility. Victor took pride in knowing everyone's strengths and weaknesses, said Thomas, the floor manager. When he saw Ethan's charisma, he thought he'd found a protege. But while most saw Ethan's attention as genuine interest, a few noticed how calculated his charm could be. He complimented the insecure. He offered help to the overwhelmed. He listened intently to the lonely. Then he'd subtly reference these conversations days later, cementing his role as confidant. Looking back, it was like watching someone check boxes, said Marcus from accounting. He'd spend exactly enough time with each person to secure their trust, then move to the next target. Female colleagues received the most focused attention. Ethan made himself indispensable, changing light bulbs, carrying heavy items, offering rides during rainstorms. His thoughtfulness earned him invitations to lunch groups, weekend gatherings, and eventually private conversations with women across departments. Within 3 months, Ethan had integrated himself so thoroughly into the company's social fabric that it seemed he'd always been there. And that's when Victor's 19-year-old daughter, Isabel, joined the office for her summer job. Ethan's approach to relationships followed a calculated pattern that psychologists now recognize as textbook emotional manipulation. With each woman, he began with overwhelming attention, what experts call love bombing, showering his target with compliments, thoughtful gestures, and constant communication. Isabel Langston became his primary focus that summer. The business owner's daughter was studying psychology at a prestigious university, intelligent and perceptive, yet inexperienced with men who possessed Ethan's level of charm. Their chance encounters in the break room weren't chance at all. He'd memorized her schedule, positioned himself accordingly, and crafted conversations that aligned perfectly with her interests. He quoted my favorite authors, shared articles about topics I'd mentioned once in passing, Isabel later told investigators. He made me feel understood in a way no one else ever had. Their relationship intensified rapidly. Within weeks, they were meeting after work, exchanging hundreds of text messages daily, and sharing intimate details of their lives. Though Ethan's revelations were carefully constructed to elicit sympathy without revealing his true nature. Meanwhile, Clara Thompson worked in accounts payable. A single mother of 2 young boys, she struggled with childcare and finances. Ethan noticed, offering to bring her lunch when she couldn't leave her desk, listening to her parenting challenges, even helping jumpstart her car one rainy morning. He'd text to check in on days my son was sick, Clara recalled. He'd say things like, "You're amazing for handling all this alone," when I felt most overwhelmed. Soon I was confiding everything in him. Rachel Martinez, a 21-year-old summer intern, became his 3rd significant target. New to professional settings and eager to impress, she was vulnerable to Ethan's mentorship facade. He guided her through office politics, praised her work to supervisors, and gradually transformed their relationship from professional to personal. What none of these women knew was that Ethan maintained at least 8 other romantic entanglements throughout the company, each woman believing she had a unique connection with him. His methods for managing these relationships demonstrated remarkable calculation. He compartmentalized, never mentioning one woman to another. He used different communication platforms with different women, WhatsApp with some, Instagram with others, minimizing risk of discovery. He created artificial emergencies to explain absences and maintained detailed notes on each woman's schedule, preferences, and vulnerabilities. This level of manipulation requires extraordinary emotional detachment, explained Dr. Helen Winters, forensic psychologist. Manipulators like Ethan view relationships as transactions. Each woman served a purpose. Isabel provided access to power. Clara offered maternal nurturing. Rachel represented admiration and validation. The most disturbing aspect of Ethan's behavior was his ability to mirror exactly what each woman needed. With confident women, he appeared slightly vulnerable. With insecure women, he projected strength. He studied their responses, adapted his approach, and expertly exploited emotional gaps in their lives. As summer progressed, Ethan's web grew increasingly complex. But even master manipulators make mistakes, and Ethan's first critical error was about to surface. The pregnancy test sat on Isabel's bathroom counter, its 2 pink lines unmistakable. At 19, with sophomore year of college approaching, motherhood wasn't in her plans. Her hands trembled as she calculated dates, confirming what she already knew. The baby was Ethan's. For 3 days, she carried this secret alone, cycling through options and scenarios. On the 4th morning, after a sleepless night, she arrived at her father's office before normal business hours. "Dad, I need to talk to you," she said, closing his office door. Victor Langston recognized the gravity in his daughter's voice immediately. He'd raised her alone after her mother's death 10 years earlier, developing an intuition for her emotional states. "I'm pregnant," she whispered, tears finally breaking through. "It's Ethan's." Victor moved to comfort her, but froze mid-step. "Ethan? From shipping? How long has this been happening?" As Isabel revealed the extent of their relationship, Victor's expression shifted from shock to concern to something harder. His daughter described a whirlwind romance, but Victor heard the hallmarks of calculated seduction. "Does he know?" Victor asked. "Not yet. I wanted to tell you first." That afternoon, Isabel texted Ethan, asking him to meet after work. He replied instantly with concern and affection. When she shared her news in the empty break room, his reaction seemed perfect. Supportive, tender, reassuring. But something felt off. "What about Clara?" Isabel asked suddenly, recalling a comment from another employee. Ethan's expression flickered. Clara from accounting? We're just friends. That's not what she believes, Isabel pressed, watching his facade crack slightly. The next morning, Victor called Ethan into his office. I understand you're involved with my daughter, he began, voice measured. Sir, I care deeply for Isabel. This wasn't planned, but I'll support whatever she decides. And Clara Thompson? And Rachel Martinez? Do you care deeply for them too? Color drained from Ethan's face. A night of discreet conversations had revealed his pattern to Victor, who'd quietly spoken with several female employees. These are serious allegations, Victor continued. I've called an all-staff meeting for tomorrow. We'll discuss appropriate workplace relationships and the consequences of deception. The implied threat hung between them. Ethan would be exposed. Word spread throughout the office. Clara confronted Ethan in the parking lot. Rachel avoided him entirely. Female employees began comparing notes, discovering identical text messages, similar special dates, and parallel promises. By morning, a dozen women realized they'd been manipulated by the same man. Their intimate secrets shared, their trust exploited. The tension in the office mounted as Ethan's carefully constructed world collapsed around him. Have you ever noticed someone whose stories don't quite align? Or felt manipulated but couldn't pinpoint why? Share your experiences with recognizing manipulation in the comments below. Your insight might help others identify these behaviors before they escalate. The morning of the all-staff meeting dawned with unusual quiet in the Langston manufacturing offices. Employees arrived early, exchanging whispers about the rumors circulating. Victor Langston sat alone in his office, reviewing personnel files and making notes. At 8:42 a.m., Ethan knocked on Victor's door. The meeting's at 10, Victor said without looking up. We need to talk before that. Ethan closed the door behind him, his usual charm replaced by cold calculation. You can't do this. Victor finally raised his eyes. Do what? Inform my employees that a predator walks among them? That's not what happened. These were consensual relationships, based on lies, manipulation. You pursued my daughter while maintaining relationships with 10 other women in this company. Ethan's posture changed, his shoulders straightening as he abandoned the affable persona. You're overreacting. Adults make their own choices. My daughter is pregnant, and I'll handle that privately with her. Like you're handling things with Clara? And Rachel? How many others, Ethan? Ethan paced the office, mask fully slipping. You don't understand power dynamics. I gave these women what they needed: attention, validation, someone to listen. In return, they gave me what I wanted. It's a fair exchange. You're describing exploitation, not relationships. Victor stood. The meeting stands. Everyone will know exactly who you are. Something changed in Ethan's eyes. A cold, calculating look replaced by raw fury. You have no right to interfere. I have every right to protect my employees and my daughter. Ethan lunged forward, shoving Victor against the bookcase. You'll ruin everything I've built. Victor pushed back. You've built nothing but lies. In one fluid motion, Ethan grabbed the heavy crystal award from Victor's desk, Business Leader of the Year, and swung. The impact against Victor's temple made a sickening crack. Victor collapsed, blood pooling immediately on the beige carpet. Ethan stood frozen, the award still in his hand, watching as Victor's eyes fixed on nothing.
No breath.
No movement. Complete stillness. Panic replaced rage. Ethan dropped the award, wiped it hastily with his sleeve, and placed it back on the desk. He checked the hallway empty, then closed the blinds. Blood had reached his shoes. He removed them, wrapped them in paper towels from Victor's private bathroom, and stuffed them in his backpack. At 9:17 a.m., Ethan walked calmly through the main office area, nodding to colleagues. Mr. Langston asked not to be disturbed before the meeting, he told Victor's assistant. He's preparing his notes. By 9:30, Ethan had reached his car. By 9:45, he was on the highway heading west. At 10:15, when Victor didn't appear for the meeting, His assistant knocked at his office door. Finding it locked, she used her emergency key. Her scream brought the entire office running. By then, Ethan had crossed the county line, leaving behind a scene that would forever change everyone connected to Langston Manufacturing. Detective Maria Collins arrived at Langston Manufacturing within 20 minutes of the 911 call. She immediately secured the crime scene, separating witnesses and establishing a perimeter around Victor's office. "The blood spatter told us this wasn't an accident," Collins later explained. "The position of the body, the angle of impact. Someone had struck Victor Langston with significant force. The murder weapon, the Crystal Award, contained partial fingerprints despite attempted cleaning. Office security cameras showed Ethan entering Victor's office at 8:42 a.m. and leaving at 9:17 a.m. No one else had entered during that time. What broke the case open was digital evidence," said forensic analyst James Chun. Ethan's phone, which he'd left connected to the company Wi-Fi, showed frantic searches for cleaning blood, crossing state lines, and countries without extradition. By mid-afternoon, police had Ethan's name, photo, and vehicle description. Highway cameras tracked his westbound movement. At a gas station 150 miles away, Ethan's credit card purchase alerted authorities. State police intercepted him at 7:32 p.m. Inside his car, they found blood-stained shoes wrapped in paper towels, his phone with incriminating searches, and a hastily packed bag containing $4,200 in cash. During questioning, Ethan's demeanor shocked investigators. "He showed no remorse," Detective Collins recalled. Instead, he explained the situation as if Victor had forced his hand by threatening his business model. He referred to his relationships with the women as investments, and seemed genuinely perplexed that anyone would object. Meanwhile, Riverdale reeled from the news. Victor's funeral drew hundreds, including business leaders, employees, and community members touched by his generosity over 3 decades. "We thought we knew everyone in this town," Mayor Richards stated. "How did none of us see what Ethan was doing?" The answer came as women began sharing their stories. Clara Thompson spoke first, describing Ethan's calculated attention. Rachel Martinez followed. Then others from accounting, customer service, even suppliers who visited the office regularly. Each described the same pattern: attention, validation, isolation, and control. "He made each of us feel like we were the only one," Clara explained to a support group that formed spontaneously, "while making us doubt our own perceptions if we questioned him." 10 women ultimately provided statements to prosecutors, their combined testimony creating a damning portrait of predatory behavior culminating in murder. National media descended on Riverdale's courthouse for what reporters called the manipulation murder. News vans lined the streets as the trial began 6 months after Victor's death. Inside, extra security managed the overflow crowd seeking seats in the gallery. The evidence will show that Ethan Calloway methodically manipulated 11 women at Langston Manufacturing, then murdered Victor Langston when threatened with exposure, prosecutor Michelle Huang stated in her opening remarks. This case demonstrates how emotional exploitation can escalate to deadly violence. The prosecution built their case methodically. Forensic experts explained blood spatter patterns on Ethan's clothing. Digital forensics detailed his incriminating searches and the extensive text messages he'd sent to multiple women, often identical messages sent minutes apart to different recipients. Most compelling was the testimony from his victims. Clara described how Ethan isolated her from friends who questioned his intentions. Rachel revealed manipulative tactics that made her doubt her own perceptions. Each woman's story reinforced the others, creating a comprehensive picture of calculated predatory behavior. Isabel's testimony silenced the courtroom. Now visibly pregnant, she described discovering Ethan's web of deception and her father's protective intervention. "My father believed in seeing the best in people," she testified, her voice steady despite tears. "That fundamental decency cost him his life." Defense attorney Gerald Winston attempted various strategies, claiming Victor had attacked first, suggesting temporary insanity, even implying the women had misunderstood consensual relationships. But these arguments collapsed under cross-examination and contradictory evidence. Throughout the proceedings, Ethan remained expressionless, occasionally whispering to his attorney or taking notes. This calculated composure broke only once when Dr. Patricia Reynolds, forensic psychologist, characterized his behavior as consistent with pathological manipulation patterns. "Objection!" Ethan shouted, rising from his seat. "She's never even evaluated me." The judge's reprimand and bailiff's approach restored order, but jurors had glimpsed the rage beneath his controlled facade. After 4 days of deliberation, the jury returned their verdict: guilty of first-degree murder and multiple counts of emotional abuse and manipulation. At sentencing, Judge Horowitz addressed Ethan directly. "Your calculated exploitation of vulnerable individuals culminated in the death of a respected community leader. The court sentences you to life imprisonment without possibility of parole." As deputies led Ethan away, Isabel stood among the other women. Their unity, once a source of pain in discovering his deception, had transformed into collective strength that would carry them through what came next. 6 months after the verdict, Isabel Langston gave birth to a daughter she named Victoria, honoring her father's memory. Despite the traumatic circumstances, Isabel embraced motherhood while completing her psychology degree with a new focus. "My thesis became my therapy," Isabel explained at a campus conference. "Studying the psychology of manipulation helped me process what happened and transform my pain into purpose." Using her father's life insurance and company assets, Isabel established the Langston Foundation, dedicated to educating workplaces about emotional abuse and providing resources for victims. The foundation now conducts training for human resources professionals nationwide, teaching them to recognize warning signs of manipulative behavior. "We can't bring my father back," Isabel stated at the foundation's launch, "but we can prevent other families from experiencing similar tragedies." For Riverdale, the case fundamentally changed the community's self-perception. The illusion of perfect safety shattered, replaced by a more vigilant awareness. "We now understand that knowing someone's face doesn't mean knowing their character," Mayor Richards explained at a town hall focused on community healing. "That awareness makes us stronger, not weaker." The women from Langston Manufacturing formed a support network that evolved into a formal healing circle. Meeting weekly, they worked through shame, self-doubt, and grief, emotions common among manipulation survivors. "We each blamed ourselves initially," Clara shared. "The group helped us recognize that master manipulators target intelligent, empathetic people, not because we're weak, but because our strengths make us valuable targets." Rachel, now finishing her business degree, leads workshops for young professionals entering the workforce. "We discuss healthy workplace relationships and boundary setting. Most importantly, we teach people to trust their instincts when something feels wrong." These stories of recovery and resilience remind us that healing is possible even after profound betrayal. If you know someone who might benefit from understanding these warning signs of manipulation, please share this video. Your single click could provide crucial awareness that helps someone recognize and escape a dangerous situation before it escalates. The story of Ethan Callaway reveals uncomfortable truths about human vulnerability. Workplace environments, where we spend most of our waking hours, can become hunting grounds for skilled manipulators who exploit our fundamental need for connection. Recognizing manipulation early requires awareness of key warning signs. Relationships that progress unnaturally quickly, excessive praise disproportionate to your actions, information control and isolation from others, creating dependency through helpful behaviors, inconsistencies in stories or personality, your instincts signaling discomfort despite rational justifications. Protection strategies include maintaining strong boundary awareness, verifying information through multiple sources, and documenting concerning interactions. Most importantly, preserve connections with trusted friends who will speak honestly when they notice concerning patterns. For organizations, this case demonstrates why clear policies about workplace relationships matter. Anonymous reporting systems and regular training help create cultures where manipulation becomes harder to sustain. The resilience shown by Isabel, Clara, Rachel, and the other survivors demonstrates the healing power of community. Their transformation from isolated victims to collective advocates offers hope for anyone recovering from manipulation. True crime stories like this serve a purpose beyond entertainment. They equip us with knowledge that could save lives. If these lessons resonated with you, subscribe now and hit the notification bell to ensure you never miss the critical insights our future cases will reveal. Your awareness today could prevent tomorrow's tragedy.